Imagine a night where the fates of nations hung in the balance, where the roaring seas and a surprise assault would determine the fate of an entire era. Welcome to the story of the Battle of Largs, a pivotal clash in Scottish history. In 1263, a determined Scottish resistance, spearheaded by King Alexander III, faced off against a formidable Viking invasion launched from the shores of Norway. Taking place on Scotland's western coastline, in a region known as Largs, this battle heralded the twilight of Viking dominance in Scotland. Join us as we journey through the events leading up to this confrontation, the intense battle that unfolded, and the reverberations it sent through history. Dive with us into this epic tale. In the years leading up to the Battle of Largs, the relationship between Norway and Scotland had been tense. The Norwegian king, Haakon IV, was eager to expand his territory and assert his dominance over the Scottish Isles. The Scottish king, Alexander III, was determined to resist this invasion and protect his kingdom's sovereignty. In 1263, Haakon IV launched a massive invasion of Scotland, which included a fleet of over 100 ships and thousands of soldiers. The Norwegian fleet sailed towards the Scottish coast, landing on the island of Arran, where they faced little resistance. However, as they advanced further inland, they encountered fierce Scottish resistance. The Scots used guerrilla tactics to harass the Norwegian troops, who were not prepared for this type of warfare. The Scots also used the terrain to their advantage, with the rocky coastline making it difficult for the Norwegian ships to anchor. As the Norwegian forces advanced towards the mainland, they encountered a Scottish army led by King Alexander III. Alexander had gathered a force of around 8,000 men, including knights, infantry, and archers. The two forces clashed at Largs in what would become a critical moment in Scottish history. On the night of October 30th, 1263, the Norwegian fleet was anchored off the coast of Largs. The Norwegian soldiers had been sent ashore to gather supplies, but they encountered a Scottish force that had been waiting for them. The Scots launched a surprise attack, catching the Norwegians off guard. The Norwegians were forced to retreat to their ships, and a fierce battle ensued. The Scots used their superior knowledge of the terrain to their advantage. They launched attacks from the surrounding hills, using bows and arrows to harass the Norwegian troops. The Norwegians, who were not accustomed to this type of warfare, were unable to effectively counter the Scottish attacks. Despite the Scottish resistance, the Norwegians managed to hold their ground. However, things took a turn for the worse when a storm hit the coast. The storm destroyed many of the Norwegian ships, leaving them stranded on the Scottish coast. With their ships damaged, the Norwegians were unable to continue their invasion, and they were forced to retreat back to Norway. The Battle of Largs was a significant moment in Scottish history. It marked the beginning of the end of the Viking era in Scotland and helped to reinforce the Scottish king's authority over the Scottish Isles. The battle also had a significant impact on Norwegian history, as it marked the end of Norway's attempts to expand its territory into Scotland. Following the battle, both sides agreed to a peace treaty, which was signed in 1266. The treaty established the border between Norway and Scotland, which would remain in place for centuries. The treaty also granted Norway certain rights in the Scottish Isles, including fishing rights and the right to collect taxes. In Scotland, the Battle of Largs became a symbol of Scottish resistance against foreign invaders. It helped to reinforce the Scottish identity and sense of nationalism, which would become a defining feature of Scottish culture in the centuries that followed. Today, the Battle of Largs is remembered through various monuments and memorials, including the Largs Viking Festival, which takes place annually in the town of Largs. The festival celebrates the Viking heritage of the area and commemorates the battle that took place there over 750 years ago. In conclusion, the Battle of Largs was a critical moment in Scottish history, marking the beginning of the end of the Viking era in Scotland. It was a moment of Scottish resistance against foreign invaders, and it helped to reinforce the Scottish identity and sense of nationalism. We hope you learned something new today. We hope you enjoyed learning about the Battle of Largs, a significant moment in Scottish history. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos about history and culture. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.